Good evening, everyone. This is the Auburn School Buildings Committee for March 25th, 7 p.m. I'd like to open a meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being recorded for rebroadcast and stuff. I ask if anybody else is recording. Nope. Okay. First item on the agenda is citizens' comments.
Right in front of you.
Okay, there you go. Thanks. Mark Bell, Warfield Street. Are you gonna be picking the colors tonight for the stairs and stuff?
No, I think we have picked colors already.
What colors are they?
We'll tell you in a second. Eric?
We have many colors.
I was gonna say, the grand staircase is one color, and then all the fire stairs are different, right?
The exterior is a red brick with a beige metal panel and windows.
He's talking about the stairs.
Stairs.
Inside the building?
Yeah.
The treads, it's not gonna
We're specifying the first and last tread of each stair flight as a contrasting color.
Okay.
Rubber tread riser.
I just hope it's not gonna be black. And the outside, have you decided what color railings and stuff? I'd like to see a stainless steel.
They're actually a galvanized steel.
What the color's gonna be?
I don't think that's been decided,
Okay.
what color.
I think, just don't go black, it's at nighttime, the black just doesn't show up.
Okay.
So, if I may?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said about the rubber treads on the stairs. You
Are they
prefer
going?
that it's not black?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. And, about the railings and stuff, you know?
It hasn't been picked that color yet. I think that's still,
Interior railings are stainless steel.
Okay, that's good. How about the outside?
That has not been decided.
Okay.
The color has not been decided. outside.
You think about going stainless steel outside too? Then we can just leave this.
No, they're not, the outside railings are not stainless steel. They're galvanized steel, so they have a zinc coating on them, a silvery coat. You can leave it natural like that, or it can be painted.
I think just leave it natural, it would look nice, I think. Are your signs and stuff gonna be large print with braille, and then the room numbers too, large print with braille?
The signage will comply with Mass AAB regulations, which do require braille, so they will have braille, and the size of the letters will be in accordance with the access board regulations.
And numbers too of the classrooms?
Numbers too.
Okay. Well, at the intersection of West Street and Southwood Street, they're gonna be traffic pedestrian lights on each side with the audio sound?
they exist already right now. That intersection, we're building up to it, but not changing anything on Southbridge Street. Hopefully, right now is the plan. So that was already built per the state had already put it in and built all those crosswalks and mastheads for the crosswalk signals.
So there's pedestrian lights on each corner of the intersection then?
I don't think it's on each corner because I don't think there's a sidewalk down the west side in front of the.
I thought there were sidewalks on both sides there.
Maybe there might be.
Okay. All right. So is that gonna be that sidewalk? What's the material? They're gonna be the sidewalk's gonna go in front of this building, right? In front of the Oriental School.
Yeah, there will be sidewalks along the street.
You know, do you know what material that'll be?
Off, at the moment, no.
I'd like to see asphalt, high top, the asphalt. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Moving on to the next agenda item, is the approval of the meeting minutes from the last meeting. In the package that you all received.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It's a vote. Okay. Mr. Page abstains. Next item on the agenda is the OPM report. Paul?
Good evening. Wanted to run through just a few things that have happened over the past 3 or 4 weeks since we've met. We have gotten bids in for the material testing and inspection company. I'll go through that process with you a little bit later on in this meeting. We'll need a vote to go with the low bidder so we can go ahead and get them under contract. The pre-qualification committee, we've met a couple of times. We have received quite a few qualifications from subcontractors. This past Friday, we finished qualifying and disqualifying. We're averaging somewhere between 6 and 12 subcontractors per package, so we're doing very well. We expect a very good turnout in prices. Yesterday, everyone was notified who was qualified and disqualified, and we're proceeding in that. We will be having a pre-bid conference on April the 3rd at 1 o'clock, where these guys will come in. We'll talk to them about the project, bring them up to speed, make sure they understand what is going to be expected of them going forward. And prices or bids will be coming in on April the 17th at 1 o'clock, where we'll have a public opening. At that point, or within the day after that, we should have getting close to a GMP to go forward with the entire project. Also, I wanted to introduce to everyone, I've got here with me tonight Ed Hahn. Ed is a superintendent. He's been in the industry for about 34 years. He's been with Skanska for 5 years. He's done recent work. He's done at Fitchburg State, Schlumberger, and Dean Tech School in Holyoke. He'll be representing Skanska and being on site on a daily basis, overseeing everything that's happening. Okay.
Thanks, Paul. Next item up on the agenda is Fontaine update on the project.
You have Okay, so again, I'm Dave Fontaine Jr., Fontaine Brothers Project Executive. Just a general overview of what we'll be going through tonight. First, I'm going to go through some of the pre-construction and contract award matters. We're going to be looking for the committee to approve the concrete proposals and approve us awarding a subcontract for that. And then also looking for an approval on the steel subcontractor. And then we'll look for an approval on the overall amendment number 2, which would allow us to proceed with both those scopes of work. And then Jamie Bloom, our project manager, will come up and give an update on the ongoing construction on site. To start with the first page of the handout, it is a summary of the concrete proposals that we received. We received proposals from a total of 4 bidders. The bidders were Marguerite Concrete, ourselves, Fontaine Brothers, Manafort Precision Concrete, and Back Bay Concrete. On the top, you'll see what we call the bid comparison. Those were the bids received for the total scope of work. Back Bay Concrete only bid on the flat work, that they just do slabs. On the total package, Marguerite Concrete was the low bidder. Their total was $1,514,000 with an alternate number 2 of $56,000, bond of $17,000. We negotiated with Marguerite Concrete as well as Back Bay Concrete with the intent of adding some M&WB participation to the concrete package. Back Bay Concrete is a WB company, and we're trying to procure as much of the early packages WB as possible. So what we did was we negotiated with Marguerite and Back Bay to put together a package that maximized the M&WB participation, and that's summarized on the bottom. Our proposed package would have Marguerite Concrete doing the formwork, which is the building foundations, walls, as well as placing the building reinforcing welded wire fabric as well as the rebar, installing the underslab vapor barrier, the underslab insulation, and Marguerite would also be responsible for all of the exterior concrete, that's seat walls, sidewalks, everything outside of the building. Back Bay Concrete specializes in flat work concrete slabs, so their package would include the furnishing, placing, and finishing of the slab materials inside the building. Marguerite would provide the forming, such as the pour stops and forming for ramps and everything like that inside the building. When you look at the total breakdown, Marguerite's proposed subcontract is $976,000. Back Bay's is $521,765. Those come to a total of $1,497,765, which, as you can see, is actually slightly less than the total proposal from Marguerite. So through negotiations with those two subcontractors, we were able to save some money from the original bids, as well as end up with more M&WB participation. To summarize that side of it, you can see on the bottom, Marguerite's providing 11% M&WB as part of their scope of work, and Back Bay is providing 100% because they're a Samba certified company. So of that package with our proposed pairing of those two, we're going to achieve 42% of the concrete by M&WBs. So we would ask, Mark, do you want to do a vote on each one of these as we go through, or should I go through everything and then ask for a vote on the amendment?
Yeah, just go through it all. We'll
Okay.
Deal with it.
All right. The second page is a summary of the steel bids that we received. These are the final bids after scope reviews and adjustments by the bidders. You'll see that we received 5 bids. The low bidder was Sturo Metal. Their number is highlighted in yellow there at $1,949,748. Just to compare that to our budget for the work, we actually ended up coming in under budget by $468,000. So we ran into a very good market for steel pricing, between materials and also the amount of work that's out there. The guys went very aggressively after it, and we're very happy with the pricing. What we want to talk about and we need to consider in terms of the steel award is the amount of M&WB participation by those subcontractors and in the early packages overall. If you'll turn to the third page, you'll see a comparison of basically the M&WB participation if we elect to go with Sturo Metal, who is the low qualified bidder, or if we elect to go with Novel Iron, who is a WBE company. To summarize the M&WB goals for the project, the state has set a goal of 10.4% of the contract work to be procured with M&WB subcontractors and suppliers. To date and continuing, we are soliciting M&WBs that we've worked with that are listed on the Samba website and trying to get proposals from as many of them as possible. We are also encouraging bidders in the non-trade sections to include M&WB participation within their bids, and we will also ask that the trade contractors specify what amount of M&WB participation they include in their bids. The decision that the committee has to make between Sturo and Novel Iron basically it comes down to whether we want to procure the steel through a WBE at a premium, cost-wise, in order to bring the project closer to meeting its M&WB goals at this point, or if we want to elect to go with the low bidder, knowing that as we go forward with the bid process, we're unsure of what we're going to receive in terms of M&WB participation through the trade contractor bidding process. There's two types of subcontractors on 149A jobs. There's what they call non-trade contractors, which we as a construction manager have the ability to negotiate with, solicit, the contractors that we believe are qualified, pre-qualify them, and work with them on the packages. And then there's also trade contractors. Trade contractors are governed specifically in 149A under a different set of rules, and the procurement of those trade contracts is also governed differently. The trade contractors will make up, we estimate, about $17 million worth of the GMP on this project. The non-trade contractors will make up about 18, so it's roughly split between the two of them. The three contracts that we've solicited bids for thus far are all non-trade contractors, and you'll see at the top on the, in the middle where it says MWB, in the site work contract, we've secured $267,000 worth of M&WB participation. And in the concrete, we're projecting $629,125 based on the proposal that I talked about previously. On the left side, you'll see the projected participation in the steel subcontract with Sterometal. And on the right side, you'll see the projected participation in the steel subcontract with Novel Iron. Our projected goal for the overall project, based on our 90% estimate, is just below that. It's 10.4%, so it's roughly $3,662,842 is what we believe, based on our current estimate, our goal is to subcontract to M&WBs. So as we go forward with the procurement process, we cannot require the trade contractors to include M&WB participation as part of their bids. It's something that was subject to a bid protest in 2011 by an electrical subcontractor, and according to the AG's office, we cannot require them to include any M&WB participation. So given the nature of this project, where we're procuring a substantial amount of work in the early bid packages prior to releasing those trade contractor packages, it's somewhat of an unknown what amount of participation we're going to get in there. In a traditional project, where you get all of your bids at the same time, you can look at them on the overall and say, okay, we might want to pay a slight premium here, negotiate with this guy to get to your goals. But what we just want to talk about and make known is that if we elect to go with Sturo, we'll have achieved to date $1,283,000 worth of M&WB participation. Now that's out of, at the bottom, $10,635,000 that we will have let out to date. So our current, effective percentage will be 12%, which is satisfactory to the goal. Our worst case scenario going forward is that we receive zero M&WB participation through the trade contractor bidding process, which would then leave us in a position where we would have to procure a substantial amount of the remaining work through M&WB in order to get to our total goal. There are several M&WB contractors that are pre-qualified. There are several in masonry. There are, I believe, 2 in roofing. There are some in flooring. So depending on how those shake out, it's, no one knows right now what we're going to get out of those bids. So we just wanted to basically bring it to the committee and bring that up and say from our perspective that, if we, under a worst case scenario, which no one can predict what you're going to get for M&W, if we do end up with zero participation from the trade contractors, we would anticipate that we would end up in a position where we would need to pay a premium to subcontractors to get M&WB participation, and depending on the amount that we get, we may be in a position where it would be difficult to meet that M&WB goal, and we would look to the town to basically grant a waiver to reduce the goal based on the results of the trade contractor packages. So I don't know if you want to have a general discussion about it, or...
Yeah, I mean, the important thing is that the 10.4 is a goal, a suggested goal to try to achieve, not a requirement that you have to achieve that amount. So that's the big thing to begin with. You know, $300,000 premium to throw out all the steel bids and go with the highest bidder.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mr. Chairman,
My
it's almost
question,
double.
Mark, through the chair, is at some point, does the state take away some of our reimbursement if we don't meet the goal?
No,
I don't think so.
I mean, it's, right now, you know.
That's my question.
Yeah, I think, you know, that goes through a lot of stuff. I mean, Fontaine's been reaching out, they've been doing the advertising, they've been trying, you know, they're showing the good faith, the good faith, you know, effort putting forward to try to get as much as they can. I mean, you know, that's a big premium to pay for.
Oh, I agree, I agree with that.
Mr. Chairman, it's more than double.
What?
2.887 versus 1.283.
Well, no, that's the total, that would be the total commitment. The proposed contracts are 1935 versus 2213.
But
Right.
That's a,
So it's almost $300,000, 280, something like that, but.
and that's
Plus,
just
they're the
one
highest bidder.
phase of the
You
project.
have to, so you're throwing out 4 low responsible bidders to
Right.
get to 1. I mean, it's,
If I could, what's your experience going forward in other trades?
In other non-filed trades or in other trade, contracted
Are
trades?
there other trade?
There
Will
are
we
other...
have problems in any of the other trades getting none on board? But if somebody doesn't bid something, they don't bid it. How do you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink?
We're actively communicating with M&WB companies for the rest of the non-filed work, just as we have for steel and concrete. You know, as you can see, even if we go with Sturo, we're at 12% of what we've procured thus far. You know, so we are working on the M&W goal. It's just that with this, you know, with the adjustment to the laws because of that bid protest where we cannot require the trade contractors to contribute, you're left in a position where your effective goal for the project is much higher depending on, you know, the contributions of trade contractors, which you can't control.
but
Could we ask
notwithstanding though, some of the qualified trade contractors are
Yes.
M&WBE enterprises, so if they happen to come in with low prices,
In the event
We're
that
gonna-
you get,
yeah.
like, for example, we have M&WBs qualified in masonry. I believe our advertised budget for that is $1,550,000. So if you have an M or WB low on that, then that takes a chunk of it, which gets you closer. Same thing with roofing. I believe our budget's around $1,700,000. So if someone's low on that, it takes you closer. What we just want to, you know, make clear is if none of those guys are low, we're going to be left with a lot of room to make up in the rest of the non-filed work.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, could I ask our construction manager, early on the project, what would you do?
Skanska has had, I've personally spoken to the state quite a few times about this process. They've been a part of it, supervising, overseeing somewhat from a distance everything that Fontaine's been going through. Fontaine has gone above and beyond getting, for the example of what he's doing with the concrete, getting the different bids, mixing them together, trying to get people to do different parts of the work to get this MBE, you know, WBE participation. They're very happy with what we're doing. They also know, though, that our hands are tied when it comes to the trade contractors. Like, you know, Dave has stated, whatever comes in, comes in. If I knew what was going to happen, I wouldn't be here tonight. I'd be rich. But at this point in time, and I have discussed this with Odell and a few other people, at least Skanska can't consciously say we would recommend going with someone higher. at this stage of the game. You know, to ask the taxpayers to pay a $278,000 premium on a what-if might happen, we can't do that right now. If we don't meet the 10.4, there are some things we would have to go to the state and show them that we've done our due diligence, we've done absolutely everything we possibly can, and then at that point, the town of Auburn does have the right to lower the goals, understanding that the team has done absolutely everything we can. You know, the goal is in doing, you know, it's a part of doing business in the state of the Commonwealth, you want to try to meet it, you really do. But again, you know, sometimes the circumstances prevent it, and we don't know all the circumstances yet. So at least at this stage, Skanska cannot recommend going with the high one.
Is a question for both of you. Is Storo Metal, have you worked with them? Are they a reputable company?
We have.
Yes.
Yeah, the most recent project we completed with them was West Springfield High School, which was roughly 285,000 square feet, about an $85 million job total. And they were very good on that.
So they're not just low, just to be low.
No, we
They're
only
good
pre-qualified
qualified
firms
bid.
that we are comfortable with.
Any time restraint on the award of this steel to make delivery?
We're looking for anchor bolts on site within about 3 weeks, so we need to make an award. We need to make a decision tonight.
Tonight.
Right away. I was afraid you were gonna say that.
Yeah, if we could wait until the trade contractor bids come in, we would love to, but it's simply not feasible with the schedule.
No, the way our schedule's built this, yeah.
Tight, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if it's wise to spend the extra money
Yeah.
right now.
I think it is.
I don't think so. I mean,
I would say it's not.
everything's going in the right
Absolutely
direction in terms of, you know, coming
Right.
down from budgeted prices, so
not. And we're over our goal with the money that's been awarded anyway. We're
Right.
at 6%.
yep.
We go forward with what we have.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so if that's the, I'll bring you to the last page just to run through. What we would, this is a summary of what we would call contract amendment number 2. Contract amendment number 1 was executed to authorize the site work package. So contract amendment number 2, we would ask to be executed to authorize the steel and the concrete packages. It's a summation of what we've talked about, plus a couple other things. The first is the concrete subcontract, the base bid, which is reflected on the first page. We would also recommend we award the alternate number 2 work of the concrete subcontract. That's the curb around the athletic field. And given that we've elected to proceed with the site work portion of that, we think it makes sense to award the concrete as well at this time. We would also then recommend that we award the steel contract for $1,935,000 to Sturo Metal. And then the other costs included in that are a $25,000 allowance, which is reflected in the general requirements and allowances line item. That's for final leveling of concrete floors under athletic floors. It's an allowance, so money that's spent towards it will be against that allowance, and money that's not spent will be deducted. The subtotal for the trade cost there is $3,513,765. We then have $140,000, $550.60 for construction contingency on that work. And then we have line items for the concrete bond cost at $17,000 and the steel bond cost at $14,748. So I guess given that, we would ask for the committee to approve the award of the subcontracts to Marguerite Concrete for the mentioned price, to Sturo Metal, and also for the committee to approve the town to go forward with executing Amendment 2 at a cost of $3,686,063.60.
So,
Looking for a motion, right?
yeah, so we need the,
I make a motion that we take the Marguerite Concrete, $1,514,000 plus.
no,
No, huh?
No, just the total.
976.
Which-
It's this
I'm
plus,
sorry,
the- yeah.
I'm sorry, okay. Yeah, for a total of $1,497,765.
Tax rate, yeah.
And
why don't we do one at a time?
Second.
Okay. Any discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay.
This one's a steel. Oh, do you want this one?
Well, I don't know which is easier to see.
Steel's on the second page.
You may just want to go through it on the last page, because in addition to the.
Well, we'll do the amendment,
Okay,
and put it all together.
yeah, I just want to make
Make
sure
that
the bond costs
recommendation,
and
yep.
alternates are included.
So I make a motion that we go forward with Sturo Metal, $1,949,748.
Second.
Any discussion, concern? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. So then we need to send a recommendation up to Town Hall to Julie on the Amendment 2 here. Back to the last page of the. Based on the awards plus the allowances and contingencies and bond costs.
So we have
Motion to the contract amendment on number 2 detail of $3,686,063.60.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Now, now I know on the 17th, right now is the scheduled date for a lot of the rest of the bids. And given, if everything goes to Hoyle and we don't have any amendments and we don't know extensions and stuff, when do you think, are we gonna be by the 29th meeting looking at a full GMP, or would we be, I think we'd be looking at the trade contracts at that time on the 29th of April, but I don't know about,
Yeah, I think if you were to bid it on the 17th, you would probably be able to look at a GMP on the 29th. I would anticipate, you know how bidding goes.
Yeah.
If there's an addendum and the bid date is pushed, then I would anticipate that we would be after that date.
okay. Just to give everybody an idea of, that we'll be
Yeah,
we'll be finalizing the construction budget by that, by that point. and
Yeah.
Our hard number to the whole construction costs.
Yep. Okay, and Jamie Bloom, our project manager, will give you an update on construction as it progresses.
Thank you.
All right, so just a quick overview of what's going on and what's coming up. This is just a 3-week schedule that we use internally at our weekly construction meetings. So it kind of just highlights what's coming up. The focus right now is the building footprint. We want to be ready to start as soon as we get our concrete guy signed up, we want to get him moving. Like Dave alluded to, we're looking for anchor bolts to be on site for the 14th of April, which is basically, it's pretty tight for those guys to get them turned for us, but we think they can make it. For what's going on out there right now, they're essentially, they've done all the tree clearing. They're bringing everything to grade down to where the one side of the building is a cut and the other side's a fill. So they're gonna start taking some of the material out of the detention basin, and we're testing that material to see if we can use it for fill under the actual building. So that's the plan with that. So you'll see, as they're moving, right by the entrance, you'll see kind of a hole opening up there. That's where they're pulling that material out of. Silt fence, all that stuff's in. We have one more gate to install. That's gonna be installed tomorrow morning, and then the rest of it sort of explains itself on here. But in my eyes, the big dates are getting us ready for the concrete guys to be out here and pushing the steel guy. Go ahead.
Did you run into any ledge when you were moving all this?
We haven't hit anything we couldn't pull out with the machines out there yet. So they found some pretty big boulders they had to break apart, but we haven't hit anything that they needed a hammer on yet. The detention area, I talked about, there's a possibility of some being over there where the borings hit refusal. They're gonna start cutting into that, I think, a little later this week. Yeah. And then the farther side of the, kind of where the field is gonna be, we're not really digging too far into that right now since we're pushing the actual footprint of the building. So far we haven't hit anything though. That's really just the big picture. Does anybody have any specific questions on, there's not a whole lot going on out there right now, but we're getting ready for a lot of other things to happen. So when it comes, it'll happen quick. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looks like it's dying out there.
Doesn't sound good.
Okay. If I could get everyone to look at, I think it's the 4th page of the meeting minutes that was supplied to you. It is a proposal from VHB. To bring you up to speed a little bit more, Bill Coyle went ahead and contacted a few engineering companies that he has personally done work with here in the town of Auburn, which has resulted in some very good news for us as it relates to West Street. VHB gave proposals which came in equivalent or the same work, shadowed the same work that Niche had given us a proposal for $180,000. They're proposing to do it at $96,500. So basically half the cost of Niche Engineering. And they also understand the pressures that we have as it relates to this site and the schedule. We have sat down, Bill and I, Julie Jacobson, and a few other people, de-scoped them, and we would like to go ahead and make a recommendation to accept VHB as the horizontal engineering for the West Street work.
Mr. Chairman, this does not have to go to public bid?
It is, horizontal engineering is exempt from 30B. So we either had the choice of going with Niche Engineering, who was already, with this, or going out and getting other proposals and negotiating with the low bid.
Right.
All right. A lot of work to be done on there. Any other questions on it?
Got us by the show. Still a lot of money for what?
It's closer to the 10% of what we're guessing the estimated construction cost would be, so it's more in line. Niche Engineering is coming from Boston, majority of their work.
Because they are dealing with a public way.
I'm sorry?
And I said they are dealing with a public way, which, everything has to be on the.
Well, what we've done in this proposal is they've estimated, let's say, 3 meetings with the Department of Transportation, or 3 meetings with this, and so forth. All we can do is give our best educated guess on what it's going to take to get through the departments, through this process. If additional work is required, then yes, we may have to come back. But this proposal is, like I said, in line with what also Niche anticipated their work would be for this.
Description.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the amount of work, what, reports they have to generate through the construction, bidding, everything.
We have to get going with it.
We do. So,
What was the figure, 96,000?
96,500.
yeah, 96,500, the total.
96,000. Well, reluctantly, I'll make a motion that we go forward with 96,500 to VHB Engineering for West Street.
Second?
Any discussions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay.
Okay. And the next topic, I also passed out a sheet that looks like this. Has yellow, green, and red on it. What you're looking at here is we went out we received 6 proposals from material testing and inspection companies. Once we received those proposals, if you look at the second page, I just wanted to walk through you real quick on how we arrived to who we felt was the most responsive, reasonable bid for this project. We looked at the total cost, if we just added everything straight down on everyone's cost proposals, at which point PSI had the lower number. But then we also went and looked at who overall had the best cost per line item. Because, you know, there's lots of things in this work that they either will or will not do. So we just kind of wanted to get a representation of who overall has the best prices. You know, they may have, some prices are very high, but overall, who had the majority of the lower prices. And that came out to be Briggs, which is highlighted in green. Then what we also went and did is we went to Fontaine. Fontaine was not aware of any of the numbers or anything, and asked them to provide us with what services they anticipated would be utilized the most on this project. You can see the different services that they picked, where it's the field geotechnical engineering, the soil compactions, the concrete testing, the welding inspections, and the masonry inspections, which, you know, from past experience, at least for me, that is the majority of the testing that usually happens on the construction site. After they identified those things, what we did is we elected and only chose those ones to see who had the best prices for the majority of the work that's going to be utilized on this project. And again, Briggs came up as being the low price at in that area as well. And then last, what we did is we evaluated the companies, the personnel, their manpower, how far, you know, are they 10 minutes away from the site, or are they an hour and a half away from the site? Are they doing their material testing, so they're having to send it to an independent laboratory that's in-state, out-of-state? What's the turnaround time? Things like that. And we rank them as either being highly advantageous, not advantageous, or unacceptable. Briggs, you can see where we evaluated the companies and we gave them, they all scored. And in reality, most of these companies, or all 6 of these companies, can more than definitely do this project. But we did, again, assign a numerical depending on if they're highly advantageous or advantageous. And Briggs was right up as being one of the best. So when we did the numerical scorings for all these different categories, Briggs was hands down the most responsible contractor that, you know, we would like to go with on this project. So standing here in front of you, what I'm asking is for you to approve for us to go with Briggs Engineering as the material testing and inspection company going forward on this project.
I'll make a motion that we take Scantz's recommendation and suggest they make contract with Briggs Engineering.
Second.
Any discussions, concerns? All right, I have a motion and second. No other motions. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It's a vote.
They're next to low, too.
Yeah. All right. Next item, update on our groundbreaking ceremony. Mary Ellen, you want to wade in?
Each of you should have received an invitation tonight. It is planned for the 17th at 10 o'clock out back here. We have made a concerted effort to really have the focus of this groundbreaking be students, so we've issued an essay contest to students currently in grades K to 6. Those will be the students who will use the new middle school. Grades 4, 5, and 6 will be the first class there. So we have ordered a tent. There'll be chairs set up and invitations will be mailed out. But I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them. We are expecting both Mr. Steve Grossman and Mr. Jack McCarthy from MSBA to be in attendance. And hopefully all of you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Small ties.
Yeah. Exciting times. A long time coming, but it's here.
Oh, thanks.
The next items is review and approval of invoices. There's the Skanska invoice back there and Lamro Pagano invoice, I believe.
There's three.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we pay Skanska invoice number 1311838, PDS 1204524, dated 3/6/14 in the amount of $19,726.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Approved.
Before we go to the next one, Mr. Chairman, there's a bill in here for niche engineering. Is that a separate item? Or is it- I don't see it included with my...
No, it's all part of the, that's all on LPA's number, right? And the printing,
No, it doesn't.
Eric? Yeah.
Printing is $732.94. Eric, is the niche bill for $1,012 included with yours?
I believe it is.
It is. I did confirm with LPA.
Maybe I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't think they have it as a separate.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I don't see it's a separate.
It doesn't show as separate, but I did speak with the administrative assistant there to confirm that it is all part of LPA's bill.
Okay.
It's not broken out.
All right, and Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we pay Lamro Pagano invoice number 1207-1402, dated 2/28/2014, in the amount of $261,096.14, and that includes, to date, $732.94 printing costs reimbursement.
All right, discussions? All right. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Next is, any other items we will need to discuss?
Did the clerk give us a little introduction of himself and some
Oh,
of the
sure.
things he's been doing?
If he doesn't mind?
If he doesn't mind, yes.
And my name's Ed Hine. I live in Connecticut. Been with Skanska about 5 years. Had my own business for a number of years. Did a lot of things in construction. My father-in-law got me into the business, and it's been fun for the years. I live in Connecticut. It's about a 40-minute ride up here. And I'll be here every day. Any questions I can answer, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
My question just basically is, like, projects this size that you've done this stuff on before?
Yeah, they vary. I did a lot with Schlumberger. They had a 140,000 square foot building they were getting out of. And there's a lot of work in that and a lot of stuff to do in that building. And it took a lot of time. It took almost a year and a half to get that squared away. And some of the other projects have been $9 to $10 million. Not giant ones, but good size. And they're all what you would call the summer slammers that started when school gets out and finished up when school restarted in the fall. It's made it exciting.
How many school projects did you work on?
Two.
Two?
Two with Skanska, yes.
Almost it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
Any
I
other
mean,
questions?
As far as I know, Paul's not going anywhere. I mean, he'll still be.
No, he'll be, Paul will still be here, and yeah, I'll be here every day.
Joe
We're
needs Paul.
We're gonna make him suffer through the end, but
Okay.
thanks.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Not yet.
Before,
No.
yeah, the
Tried.
next meeting,
Oh, okay.
I think I think we're gonna go for the 29th, because the week before that's the school vacation week, right? Yeah, okay. So since the bid openings and groundbreaking hopefully are on the 17th together, and then we'll have a whole bunch of packages to be able to approve by the 29th, so make the 29th as the next meeting at 7 o'clock. 29th of April. Now.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.